Ladies and gentlemen, 9.1 has had a massive PTR update. There is so much happening, we're going to have to split it into two videos. But let's get into this. We can fly! Praise be! Before we jump into this, you should be aware that on Tuesday, that is next Tuesday, the 27th, I will be sitting down with the man himself, Ian Hazzikostas, the lead game director of World of Warcraft, to talk about all the stuff in 9.1 and anything I really want to talk about. It's been, I announced it today and I saw a lot of feedback. It's like, is it pre-planned questions, all that? Let me clarify how this works. Blizzard are super good with me. I can't speak for anyone else, but they're super good with me, is that they have a couple of things they really want to touch on that, you know, can we definitely talk about those things? Absolutely. Other than that, all I do is I put down a list of stuff I'd like to talk about. I do send it over so they can research anything, so it's not like, let me get back to you. But there's no pre-planned questions. None of that. I provide a list of topics. They're very, very cool with me. So I put out on Twitter that if you have any questions you would like me to slot in that you feel is important, doesn't matter what area of the community this is, please feel free to do that. Put it in there just in case. We always have so much stuff we want to talk about, but I do only have an hour. So if your question doesn't get in, like, don't get upset. I think we've already had like 400 replies of suggested questions as of recording this. So Tuesday, 6 p.m. UK time, just Google whatever time that is around your place, and I will be sitting down with Ian, and hopefully it'll be a good old time. We had a great conversation last time, but we'll see what comes of this one. Let's get into 9.1 then. So I need to talk about this. Again, we're going to do two videos because one video will be very heavily focused on the amount of changes Blizzard has put into classes, legendaries, resources, currencies, Torghast, loads and loads and loads of stuff, okay? They have put a lot of changes into 9.1 that's heavily going to affect you overall. But I want this video to focus on Korthia. We've been following Korthia so closely, and then this is in two parts as well, because there are massive spoilers for story stuff that might be super interesting to you. I've seen some people tweeting them out, and people not being particularly mad. I think people enjoy a bit of spice, but I will put at the point where, look, I'm going to talk a little bit about spoilers here. Because it's very exciting. Honestly, when I spoke to Blizzard last night, and during that conversation, I was like, this is really good. I am not a story guy by any means. You guys are well aware of that. But this is really well done. Like, congratulations. So even if you don't stick around for the spoiler part, it's a thumbs up from me on the story elements. Coming back to Korthia then. So Korthia did receive some updates. But it's always difficult when doing this, especially when testing a new zone, is there is the story path, which is a one-time deal. Right? That's a one-time thing, and it can be very involved. And if you're not experienced with testing this stuff, it can feel like the whole zone has opened up in some way, when in fact it hasn't. You're doing what is essentially just this one-time deal. As cool as it might be, it is one time. And then the next day, which is why I've waited till now, the server has just reset. Because it's US time. That I wanted to see what's Korthia the day after that, right? So I did play this through the night. I played till about 4 a.m. There was loads of content for me to check out, but I thought I'm not going to release a video right now until I see what Korthia is tomorrow. So unfortunately, and this is the sad news as well, I'm kind of on the fence now that there's going to be not much more to Korthia. I'll be happy if there is, but as it stands right now, it's just 4 dailies, and that's it. It's extremely bare bones. I've come back today just to see what is here. It's just 4 dailies, the same 4 dailies we've had since the start of Korthia. But that doesn't mean there isn't more to come, so don't lose all faith or hope or anything like that. We still haven't seen the more touched armor. We don't know what's going on with that at all yet. But in terms of the zone opening up, it does in the story element and then closes immediately afterwards, which is a big bummer. This is not going to be your Throne of Thunder. It's not going to be a Timeless Isle. It's going to be nothing like that. I'm only suspecting they didn't build this into the previous area of the Maw because of the fact that the anima is running free here, and that's integral to where the story goes, is that anima flow is untouched here because the jailer couldn't get here. So that's what Korthia is. It's a place where there is anima and things are happening. So I wish I had better news. I really do. There's still no rares here. There's still no secrets or anything to pick up, which is odd because they just added them to the old Maw. They added in all these hooks and grapple points and secrets to find. The Maw did have all these little extras that pick up, but so far that's not here. After this update, if it does change, I will come back to you. But as of right now, if you don't hear from me again on Korthia, Korthia is just a daily quest hub. And that's all it's going to be, with a new reputation and probably some sort of casual upgrade gear. Right now, it drops 203 gear. You get one weekly quest. That's it. One weekly quest that takes like 3 days of daily quests to complete. Each daily quest gives you a 5-ish%. But sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. So it takes 3 to 4 days to get that weekly done. And as of right now, that rewards 203 gear. So, not the best. We do know these upgrade items do exist, but the items that are coming from the weekly are not called More Touched, which is what the items refer to that upgrade them. So, that's as it stands right now in Korthia. Sorry to be a pain in the ass on that one, but I wish I had more news to tell you. I really do. Let's go over to the spoiler stuff now. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. You should be super hyped, though, because the tag teams of the century are forming here. One great thing we looked forward to with the announcement of the Shadowlands was, in fact, that they were able to bring back the dead. And they were going to be able to have them merge with the living. And some people are very excited about that. So when you do see the ultimate tag team of Thrall and Draka coming together to fight alongside you, it's pretty good. Again, I'm not a story guy. I don't really care about Green Jesus that much. And Draka, I know more from the film than anything else in game. Yeah, I will not deny when they were fighting alongside each other and having this conversation and discussing their past and their history and which clan did you come from? How did you get that armor? Draka's like, I know that armor. How did you get that? And they're having this back and forth and fighting next to each other. It is seriously cool. And I very much enjoyed exactly what they did with that, especially when you got to go to a brand new area of the mall, which is so much more interesting than Korthia. God damn it, man. I was taking in the scenery in here. And in fact, the thumbnail screenshot is from a zone that so far you only use during the campaign. And then you kind of get kicked out again. I will point out here as well, mechanically, they threw in some much more interesting enemies. Not only do we have the coming together of the Covenants, which is a big part of 9.1, is the Covenants working together. We do get to travel, finally, although it's only within the realms of the campaign, into the other sanctums again. So if you are a Necrolord, you're going to go into Sinfall. Yes, you're going to be doing these things because the Covenants are once again working together. Again, we have that sort of dissonance between the fact that they won't let us in on a day-to-day basis, but if they need us, yeah, sure, you can come in, but I opened this place and set it up for you, and all that nonsense that we discussed during the alpha. Yet it does appear to be somewhat closing around it. They're just still maintaining this, you've got to stay in your own Covenant for abilities reasons. It clearly does not work with the story. That's all I'm pointing out is, once again, as we suspect in the alpha, this absolutely does not work. Mechanically, there's a very big separation between how the game mechanically works and how the story wants it to work. They really do want their cake and eat it with this. But Thrall and Draka together is really cool, and everything you do there, and dealing with the big mobs. Having the, Maldraxxus necropolis come flying in and bombarding the area as the Kyrians are swooping in and Revendreth is trying to represent itself, but not doing particularly well. It's kind of funny how they yeah, and Revendreth's here too, and the other dudes are like, oh, okay, sure. I guess what you're going to do, throw a tea party theater? Well played. But it is fun. Alongside that tag team theme then, one thing I was really excited by once we saw the Revendreth campaign and the release of Kael'thas and the wonderful campaign that happens with Kael'thas is, when is he going to bump into Baroness Lady Bash? And that happens in 9.1, and it's so cool. They're like, we can help. We've got history, and this is going to be running alongside the. I'm not doing deep spoilers. I'm just kind of teasing you a little bit here with the Dreadlord questline. There's a very extensive Dreadlord campaign that is undergoing in 9.1, and who better to deal with? And I'm going to get the name wrong. Noble, forgive me. Nethrezim, than Lady Vash and Kael'thas as a tag team, and seeing them come together and like, hi, Kael. And it's actually the cool thing is Vash is going, I believe you have Kael'thas. We've worked together in the past. We're really good together. You should let us help. And and obviously it's such an emergency and just a desperate time that everyone's going, yeah, that's a really good idea. And you as the player are going, that's a terrible idea. Like, do not let this happen. But they do meet up. They do get to tag team together. And I hope and pray, even if it's just nostalgia on my part, I hope and I pray that they really carry on that through. Now, let's talk about some really good stuff. The thing with 9.1 is you get all the stuff you're probably really excited about very, very quickly. Like, super, super quickly. Flying is like stage 4 of the campaign. So even if they gate it weekly, you're talking like a month after 9.1 launches, that you will get flying. And honestly, it feels good. It does feel good. No, it's not as good as the other expansions where you could fly across the entire land masses and things like that, because obviously the zones are still not connected directly. But it does feel good, especially in Revendreth. Being able to fly, I actually forgot temporarily that I could fly, and I'd learned how to fly. It does open for all your alts, by the way. Once you get one in the book, all your characters can fly. The same as most things now that are account wide, like getting Mythic plus 15 Keystone Master is just account wide for getting the item level upgrades. Same thing here. You get flying very, very early on. There's a big story reveal, which I'm not going to go into because it's not worth me spoiling it for the sake of what I want to discuss. But once you get it, I forgot I had it. I had to travel somewhere. I had to go to Sinfall, actually, and I was like, oh, God, I'm miles away from a flight point. And I was like, I mounted up, and I used the favorites thing, so it got me on a flying mount. I was like, oh, yeah, and I just flew over the top, and I was like, oh, this does feel so much better. Oh, it feels so good. It's not going to change the world or anything like that with the Shadowlands, with the disconnected zones, but it is absolutely tremendous. Which then leads to the other question that I have probably to put out to you, but also one of my questions to Blizzard is, we get a lot of the important stuff, like, so quickly in 9.1. That would be no more Eye of the Jailer, being able to mount anything in the Maw, which is great for anybody who did not do the Twisting Corridors, and we get flying, like, a month in. And then that's the big stuff. Where are we in 6 weeks? Where are we in 8 weeks? I would really like to know, and perhaps there's much more to come with that. As of right now, they literally have an ending screen, which is rare to see in World of Warcraft. They usually do this during test phases, is they have an ending screen where they kind of let you know what the next part of the story is going to be. Thank you for testing, etc., etc. So for now, it looks like we have reached the end of the campaigns. They are very, very cool. They are really cool. They are very interesting. They're not long. Same as the actual initial campaign. If any of you have rolled an alt, you'll realize that the actual main story campaign is not particularly long. You can smash it out in a few hours. Same here. In a few hours, if you wanted to and you'd waited for the time gating to be gone, then it will just be like 3 or 4 hours or something like that. The patch launched like 11 PM. I was done with testing mode things by like 4 and went to bed. So that is the situation right now in 9.1. I would stay subscribed. Make sure you pay attention for the next video, which is going to be covering all those other systems that I did not want to put into this video. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.